The first time I saw her, she was standing at the edge of my property, acting as if she owned every inch of it. Golden blonde bob, oversized sunglasses, and a lavender cardigan draped like a shield. That was Susan Mitchell, the self-proclaimed queen of the Willow Bend HOA. She had moved into the freshly built Cedar Ridge subdivision, right beside my family's 150-year-old ranch, passed down from my great-great-grandfather. My land was rugged, historic, and secluded everything Susan despised. "You need to tear that eyesore down," she snapped on her first visit. "It's dragging down our property values." I laughed, not to mock her, but because I thought she was kidding. My ranch was on private land, 2 miles from her subdivision, and legally beyond HOA reach, but Susan didn't care about boundaries. She saw my land, my cabin, my weathered fences, and wanted them gone. Over the next few months, her harassment escalated. Anonymous complaints about unauthorized structures, surprise code enforcement visits, even drones buzzing overhead. Susan didn't just want my ranch shut down, she wanted me driven out. But what she did next crossed a line no one should have. On a quiet Thursday morning, gunshots echoed through my back pasture, not the kind you'd hear in hunting season, but sharp, reckless blasts too close to my livestock. I grabbed my rifle and ATV, speeding toward the sound. There they were, 6 camo-clad hunters marching across my land like it was public property, no permission, no tags, just arrogance and loaded rifles. "Y'all lost," I shouted, pulling up beside them. One smirked. "Susan said this place was abandoned." My blood boiled. "Susan sent you?" Their silence was answer enough. I radioed Sheriff Ben immediately, but before he could respond, something stranger happened. From the tree lean behind my old barn, the cabin doormost folks thought it was just a storage shed creaked open. A man in a black tactical vest stepped out, then another, then another. Before I could speak, over 50 federal agents poured out like they'd been waiting for a signal. The hunters' smug expressions turned pale in seconds. Susan had no idea who she'd tangled with. The agents fanned out in precise formationo shouting, just sharp, trained movements that screamed authority. The leader, a tall, broad-shouldered man with a graying beard, stepped forward, his vest marked FBI Counterintelligence Division. He gave me a slight nod. "Mr. Thornton," I nodded, holding my breath. "Yeah, that's me. You may want to step back," he said. "We've been tracking these men for a while." He gestured toward the hunters, whose rifles now hung uselessly. "Wait, you knew they were coming?" I asked. The agent lowered his voice. "We've been investigating Susan Mitchell. Her HOA's a front for a smuggling network. Your ranch has been our perfect observation post. That cabin you built in '09? We upgraded it." My stomach dropped. "You're saying the FBI's been living on my land?" He gave a sheepish grin. "Rent-free. Sorry, we had to keep it quiet. You were never in danger and you helped more than you knew." The hunters were quickly disarmed and zip-tied. One protested but was silenced with a look. Black SUVs appeared along my dirt road, and the agents loaded the hunters in. I stood, stunned, processing it all. "And Susan?" I asked. The agent smiled thinly. "She's next." He handed me a card. "Come by the field office tomorrow for affidavits. We'll clean up the cabin." The agents vanished into the trees, leaving my ranch silent again. I sat on my porch, staring at the rolling hills. Susan had weaponized hunters to scare me off my land, only to stumble into a federal sting. That night, I couldn't sleep, not from fear, but from shock. My quiet ranch, fought for against encroaching development, had become the heart of a takedown operation. Susan, oblivious, was about to face the consequences. By Friday, rumors spread, but no one knew the full story. Neighbors saw SUVs and government men sweeping my ranch. Susan strutted through the HOA in a pearl necklace, posting on Facebook about running off that ranch squatter and cleaning up Cedar Ridge. Her sycophants ate it up. She didn't know the FBI had months of evidence tapes, wire transfers, shady land deals. Susan had used her HOA status to push out residents, flip properties through shell buyers, and launder money via community fees. The hunters? Paid from HOA security funds for intimidation. At the FBI field office, I signed documents retroactively approving the cabin's use as a field asset. You'll get a compensation check, one agent winked. By the time I left, they were moving on Susan. I went home, sat on my porch with my dog, Scout, and waited. Just after 3 p.m., 3 unmarked SUVs rolled into Cedar Ridge, followed by a black van marked FBI Evidence Response Team. Susan, pruning roses in her lavender blouse, barked, "What's this about?" Agent Reynolds, the bearded leader, presented a folder. "Susan Mitchell, you're under arrest for conspiracy to commit fraud, criminal misappropriation, intimidation, and obstruction of a federal investigation." She laughed until she saw the warrant. Handcuffs clicked as her face paled, dethroning the HOA queen before her neighbors. Her eyes met mine at the fence, a priceless moment of defeat. By nightfall, news broke. Local HOA president arrested in multi-state fraud scheme. Susan's mugshot, pearls lopsided under a jumpsuit, hit every channel. Her Keep Cedar Clean group shut down. The HOA board scrambled, pleading ignorance. I slept soundly. Neighbors soon arrived with pies, handshakes, and apologies. "Didn't realize what you were up against, Luke," Old Man Jenkins said, tipping his cap. "You held your ground." They saw what the ranch meant not just to me, but to the land's soul. My great-great-grandfather built it with sweat and grit, every post steeped in history. The FBI had flagged my property years ago as a surveillance asset due to its seclusion and elevation. Susan's reckless moves sped up their operation. "If she'd left you alone, it might have taken another year," Agent Reynolds said at a debrief. I chuckled. "So I should thank her?" He smirked. "Not unless you like prison pen pals." He handed me an envelope with a letter of thanks, a tax-free check, and a commendation from the assistant director. I framed the letter in the cabin not for ego, but as a reminder that some things are worth defending. Susan got 15 years, no parole. Her hunters took plea deals. The HOA dissolved, but my ranch stood stronger than ever. When asked if I'd sell now that the land's famous, I smile. You can build 100 cedar ridges, but there's only one Thornton Ranch. If you pass the old oak and see a blue heeler on the porch, know you're on ground even Susan couldn't touch. If you've dealt with an overzealous HOA tyrant, you know how wild things can get. Like if you enjoyed watching Susan's plan implode. Comment what you'd have done. Subscribe for more real-life showdowns. This is just the start.